Are we live? Yeah. Oh, hey guys. For some reason, my internet was like completely frozen, but we are live. Happy Thursday! I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. We already have a bunch of people in the comments, so thank you guys for being prompt and ready to get started with us today. As always, if you have any questions of anything that we're going through, please feel free at any time to utilize the live chat comment section. I do keep an eye on that and check periodically throughout. And then we also have a live Q&A at the end of all of these. So I'll either look through them through there, or you can obviously ask your questions when we present them at the end as well. And if you are watching this on replay and you weren't able to join us live on Thursday morning on October 17th, that is totally fine. I want to obviously say hey and thank you for being here as well. If you start watching the video, and let's say it's a week or two from now, and you decide, hey, I've got some questions, drop them in the comments of this video. I am the one that manages all of those comments, responds to them all myself. So please feel free to drop them in there and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So, someone just asked, how does this work? Good question, because we're going to figure it out together. We actually have never done this before. So, today I just randomly had the idea because a couple of you guys in our private EverBee members only Facebook group have actively asked for an Etsy audit. Like, hey guys, can you check out my shop? Haven't got a lot of sales. Looking to get some more reviews. Do you guys have any ideas or feedback? So I was like, what if we just did a live Etsy shop audit instead? So today is different than anything we've ever done before. And if you guys like it and it's something that you want to see more and more, I've been approved to do this every single month if you guys want to. So we could do one of these a month. I can do 3 to 5 shops on the Etsy shop audit. I think you guys gave me like 25 shops to choose from when I asked the Facebook group. So if, like I said, if this goes well and you guys find it valuable and you want to do it again, make sure you let me know in the comments of this video. You want to see it in the future. Make sure you let me know on the live chat as well. The way this is going to work today and for future events, we really try to not just talk to one particular type of seller, because technically there's like 3 to 4 different types of sellers on Etsy, right? So we usually have print on demand, digital, handmade, and then there's like service-based sellers. So that's like what I sell, for example. So like this video could be like a service that I'm selling, even though I'm not, but like something of that nature, right? So what we decided to do was I'm going to do a shop audit on those 3 types. So not the service one, but we are going to look at handmade, we're going to look at digital, and we're going to look at print on demand. Okay. And the good thing is someone actually just said that they do combination shops. That's totally fine too, because there's actually one that we're going over today that is a mix of print on demand and handmade. So that is totally fine as well. So basically what we're going to do is I have this thing, and I'm not going to lie, you guys know I'm so simple. I'm so easy. I'm not like this aesthetic person, but I'm wearing a hoodie right now. So you guys, if you've been here, you know who I am. You know that like I just like data. I like numbers and I like getting straight to the point so you guys can like run with it, right? This is not going to be a beautiful Canva presentation. This is not going to be frilly. It's not going to be like covered in EverBee branding. It is, however, hopefully really going to help you guys out. Okay. So basically what we're going to do is I have this like what I call an Etsy health score spreadsheet. And I've personally used this for multiple clients in the past, and I haven't really done it in a while. So I was like, why don't I give this to the EverBee community? So what I did was basically had the print on demand, handmade, and digital product sellers, shops, whatever you want to call it, all within my benchmark system. Now, I do not by any means know everything. I don't even know most things. I don't know why you guys are here sometimes. I really appreciate you being here. But I want you guys to help out as well. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. You guys know if you've been here before, I always say if I'm the smartest person in this room, I'm in the wrong room. Right. So I really want you guys, anything that you see on the 3 that we're going to go over today, if you have feedback, if you have encouragement, if you have support, pop them in there. That is absolutely what these Thursday mornings are for. Okay. So anyways, I just wanted to give a quick little snapshot, if you like, where I'm like, this is what we're gonna do. It might not go well. I really have no idea. I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping it's valuable to you guys. And also, I am hoping that the people's shops that we are going over today, maybe by taking some of these suggestions, could really, really help you guys for Q4, but also everybody else on this call can take these. So that's really my plan. I hope it works. We shall see. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. And like I said, any questions that comes up, that was not the right grammar. Any questions that might come up throughout this, please, by all means, pop them in those comments. I will address them basically after every shop. I will come back to the comments and we will jump right in. And then if there's anything not related to the shops itself, I'll do a live Q&A at the end. Okay? I think that's enough talking. Let's get into more talking, but like actually what you guys came for. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add to stage. What we are looking at right now is, again, what I call like my Etsy health score report. Like I said, it's nothing crazy. It's just a stupid Google sheet. But I basically break down like when I am high level, and it's not like a super deep dive by any means. That maybe could be something that we do in the future, but it's really high level. When I look at a shop, what am I looking for? The first thing is shop optimization. Is the shop even optimized? And there are basically 5 to 6 things that I look for as it relates to shop optimization. We'll go through all of those in a second. The next one is searchable keywords. Are they being used frequently? And then when we think about searchable keywords, are they also, I don't want to say the right keywords, but is it like an optimized keyword strategy as well? So we're going to do that together too. The next one is I don't actually know if I love this. This is something I made a long time ago, and I don't know if I agree with it anymore from experience. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Total number of listings equal to or above 75. I don't think this is necessary anymore. Before, when I made this benchmark checklist, probably in like February of this year, I did think this was necessary. And I've seen people with thousands. You know, if you guys watched our live interview with Heather last week, people have thousands of listings, which means potentially thousands of potential exposure, which means potentially thousands of potential sales as well, right? However, I had a digital product shop that was so niche down and so tailored to a very particular person. I had 13 products in that shop and I was making like 2 to 5K a month. So it really, like, I look at this and I'm like, I think 75 is a clean number, but I don't think it is 100% necessary. So what we're going to go over today is basically like for the 3 shops that I looked at, of the listings that they have, could we do more? Is there any out of the box thinking? I always say, you guys know I always say out of our brain box. So are there any out of our brain box products or other niches that may be cross niched or sub niche with what we already have? That's what we're going to go over today, less so than how many listings do you have. So I hope that makes sense. I'm probably going to change the title of this because I don't even love what I've made, but I wanted to make sure we went over that really quickly. The next thing is photography and mockups quality, with the most important one obviously being the thumbnail, but then also what else helps you make that sale or is deterring people from making that sale in the rest of the photos and video. And then the last up is the description and title quality. So we're going to go through all of those. You'll also see in the health score framework, I basically weigh each of these in a certain way. So like total number of listings at or under 75, like that could be 5%, 4%, 2%, you know, so you'll see it's a little bit smaller at 10, but you'll also see keywords, SEO, and then title and description are on the higher end at that 25%. Then we have shop optimization and mock-up quality at equal 20%. So theoretically speaking, at the end of a shop audit, it should be 100%, right? So like all of these are checking out. You should be at 100%. So what we're going to go over today are the 3 shops and where I believe things could be enhanced in these 5 categories. And then they're all going to have individual subcategories. Okay. So I hope all of that makes sense. But let's go ahead and get into it. So this first one is our handmade shop. We are looking today, and thank you guys, first of all, so much for being open to this. I'm just going to shout out Stern 3D Creations, So Roads Art Studio, which I think stands for Southern Roads, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm from the South, so I loved that. Then we also have Sherry Lynn Designs. Really, really want to shout you guys out first and foremost. Like this takes a lot of guts, you know, to put yourselves on our YouTube channel and be willing to like take constructive feedback and then get the support from the community, and most importantly, help others, right? So I really, really want to shout you guys out and thank you so, so much for doing this. We are first going to take a look at our friends at Stern 3D Creations, which I want to buy all of this. First of all, like, I think this little mushroom is the cutest thing in the world. And I literally have a cord right here that needs the mushroom. It's just sitting here, not looking cute. It's not looking very, very cutesy, right? So I love what you have going on, and everybody needs to know about this. However, not a lot of people know about it quite yet. It's a very, very niched down audience. And also, I think that there's a little bit of opportunity for improvement as it relates to some keywords that you're using. I'm seeing a lot of comments in here, so I want to make sure. Oh, everyone's like, they look so good. I'm so glad. I was like, I need this freaking mushroom. I need this little bear claw to hold your things. Oh my God, I was obsessed with what you have in here. So stinking cute. But no one really knows about it yet, and that makes me sad. I want everyone to know about these things. I want everyone to be buying these awesome things that you're creating. So let's get into a little bit into the breakdown of the 5 sections that I believe might be able to help us bring this up a little bit. All right, so let's talk shop optimization first. So I want to potentially, first of all, I'm going to call you out for your branding. Super cute. Love it. I love your logo. I love your the consistency of your thumbnails. I love the lifestyle appeal of all of them. Like, you can tell that you know what you're doing. So first of all, heads up, that in your shop optimization and branding is going so, so well. So wanted to shout you out for that. However, there are a couple places that I think, again, we could just elevate. Not that anything is wrong, not that anything is bad. Let's just elevate. That's all what today's call is about, right? So the first thing is, let's just go right here. So your shop announcement section, it looks like you just updated this on October 15th. So first of all, awesome, because I always like at least once a month, especially during this season. You know, this is the biggest sales potential season for us, right? So I love that you are doing it frequently. First of all, incredible. However, I think that there is a really, really awesome opportunity for us to elevate this. So let's say, which I know the answer is you do. Let's scroll down a little bit. So you have 20% off on eligible orders. Not sure what your eligible orders are without seeing the back end or without trying to buy it myself, but let's say you have 20% off at something, right? I need to know that right here. Like, this is the very first thing that I see when I come to your shop. Like, announce. It's quite literally a shop announcement. So announce to me what you want me to know. Tell me what new products you have. Tell me what coupons I could possibly use. Give me the link to join your email list. Tell me what discounts they can see. Tell me if there's free shipping, or if you only ship to the people in the US and you don't international. Like, give me that information so that I can do my due diligence as a buyer to determine if I want to keep looking or not, right? So I think that's number one, is something we can do, enhance that shop announcement a little bit. The next thing I want to look at is your section titles. Now, not a lot of people would even know this, but these section titles are SEO opportunities. These are literal keywords that Etsy is categorizing as you are also categorizing your stuff by, right? So home decor, sure, that's a good one. It's obviously going to be a little bit more saturated, but it's fine. Gaming, that's a good one. However, things like pixies and critters, I think that's a really cute word. But my question for you would be, are these vetted, high volume, high search volume, low competition keywords? Or are we just calling this little hedgehog a critter? Because I think that's a funny word, right? Are we calling it that? Or are we knowing that our buyers are actively typing that in? That's what I think we could maybe enhance these a little bit, okay? And I don't know, to be honest, off the top of my head, I do not know the character limit on section titles, but I know from experience, I have personally done like a pretty decent sized one, and then it would just stack on top of each other. So if you said like gamer home decor, that's a little bit more niche down and makes a lot of sense for your items compared to just home decor. Maybe. I'm just thinking out loud, okay? So that's another thing we can look at as it relates to the shop optimization. The other thing I want to look at real quick is when you click on the About section, we come down to your shop itself. Like, I want to know about you. I want to know why you do this. I also want to know why you changed from decals, because you were selling car decals for a little while, to now 3D printing. I love, love, love that you have all of these like awesome photos. You also use videos very well in your listings. I love that you're doing this, but like, who is Chrissy? Like, what is Stern 3D Creations? Why do you exist? And the reason why, some people will probably completely disagree with me on here, and that's totally fine. Like I said, I am not the smartest person in the room, nor do I try to be or say that I am. However, I like to think, like, who is Etsy and what is Etsy's tagline? It's literally called "Keep Commerce Human," right? So especially if you're in a space like print on demand where you are not touching your items whatsoever, we really, really got to keep commerce human somehow. So whether that means you have exceptional customer service, whether that means you have exceptional marketing efforts externally, whether that means you have an exceptional backstory, tell me. I need to know about it. I want to fall in love with Chrissy and Stern 3D Designs rather than just your items, because people buy from people, not brands. So give me some information about you right here in that About section. And the good news too about the About section is it's not just for other people, it's also for you. It is also an SEO opportunity section. So anything that you can do that is those like high volume, low competition keywords to get you found. Like, I know you use words like articulated. I know you use words like dragon, mushroom, gamer, all of those kinds of things. You can pop those in here. Like, use the About section to talk about you and why you exist, but also call out the people that you want to sell to and how you plan on selling to them. Okay. Hope that makes sense. It's going to help both of you. Trust me. Last thing, really quickly, I'm looking at okay. I think that was it. Yeah. So the other thing I want to show you real fast, let's just go ahead and let's move on from shop optimization. If you guys have any questions about shop optimization, feel free to let me know, but I'm going to move on. And then, like I said, I'm going to get those comments. I see you guys coming in. I see the questions. I will get you guys after each of these individually. Okay. Because I don't want to stop in the middle and then y'all know I have ADHD. I will forget to come back. so we're going to keep on going. So searchable keywords being used frequently. And again, the right strategy around keywords. Okay. So what I said for this particular shop was I really do think that we are doing a good job overall on our keyword strategy, but I don't think that, well, so basically it is a very, very niche down item, but we are actually niching down our keyword strategy a little bit too much potentially. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that in a second. And this might also be something that a couple of you are dealing with as well, because you are in a very targeted audience. But they have a very targeted language that they speak, which is awesome. Use that language, but we also might want to do a little bit of a mix of like broad keywords as well to attract a larger audience who might still be attracted to the item itself. Okay. Another thing I did notice, this actually happened on both two different shops out of the three today, was misspelled words. Words without spaces, or words that had little dashes in between them. So let's say it was like 4 words and then it was like a long tail key phrase and then there was dashes in between them. If I'm not mistaken, I could be making this up, but if I'm not mistaken, you more than likely used EverBee to find those, and they more than likely had a really good keyword score. However, that is not the best strategy, because Etsy has actively told us that they do not want us to use misspelled words. They do not want us to use like compound words that we're basically creating ourselves. So yes, someone or multiple someones might have spelled something incorrectly, but that doesn't mean that we should use it. Instead, what we should do is use that misspelled word and then think about, okay, well, maybe they misspelled this, but they still meant to search it. So what else can I build around those? So I just wanted to also say, try to make sure that you're not using misspelled words. You're not using like compounded words that someone just forgot a space with. Etsy actively tells us they don't recommend that. Okay. The next thing and the final thing as it relates to keywords, which I'm going to scroll down in a second and show you, is we are using on multiple listings, and there's only a few listings, so that's a good amount. The percentage of listings is really using, again, those super, super narrow words, and we're not like necessarily finding the right competition for it. So I'm going to scroll down and show you what I mean. So in this, for example, and I use EverBee, of course, to see these. So it looks like, if there's only technically maybe like 2 or 3, and I don't actually, to be honest, I have no idea which listing this is related to. It's just a screenshot that I took. But like this one, that's good. This one is a little bit heavier on the competition than I would obviously prefer. Gamer keyring, I think the competition is great, but the volume is not as happy as I would like it. But at least we're at 100. I mean, I think like, you could still do like anything over 50 or 75 is basically what Heather told us last week for her strategy. So, I mean, this is fine. I like this. But then the remainder of our keywords are so niched down that we are niching ourselves out of being found. So I hope that makes sense. Like these guys are so minimal for volume of search. The competition looks fantastic over here, but the volume of search is basically like we are not even going to get found in the first place. So I really want to make sure that we are focusing on high volume and or at least good volume and lower competition, but also having, like last week, if you did not watch the conversation with Heather, highly recommend you check it out, because her keyword strategy talked about like a rule of thirds where she does a little bit of the broad stuff like dad gifts, and then she does a little bit of product specific stuff, and then she does a little bit of niched down target audience stuff. So it makes it a little bit more robust of an amount of people and the types of people that could come in, and then it's their decision to hop off if they decide to. On the adverse side, I'm seeing this one. This one was better. I think we did a good job here, but I just wanted to shout this out. When we're looking at the lower search volume, but also being mindful of the high competition. Okay, so I want to make sure that we are kind of finding the sweet spot between both of them, because I love teen gift. This volume is really sexy to me, but then we're also going against 371,000 listings. So my thought immediately would be like, I wonder, and I don't know this, I haven't tried it, but like, I wonder if we went back into EverBee's keyword research tool, we typed in teen gamer gift. I wonder if this would still be sexy, but this would be lower. I'm just thinking out loud. So just things like that. Okay. Also, I went ahead and just put these together, some things that I found. I'm going to say this wrong. Stern 3D Creations. Chrissy, I think is your name. If you want to write any of these down, I literally found them for you. I hope you like them. I hope they help. And also don't just go like adjusting all of the things that you have with these. This is just some examples that I found while I was doing the research on your research, pretty much, that I thought might be able to also help you out. That matches that keyword strategy we were just talking about. Okay. Hope all of that makes sense. Next up, this is again, total number of listings at or above 75, I think is really dumb. I'm just going to straight up like, I don't like that. Right. But what I do want to talk about is, if she had 19 listings that were super optimized and, attracted a large amount of people, she might be making thousands right now. Who knows, right? But what I do know is this is a very niche down audience who is ready to spend money. Like they are dedicated to their cause, right? And I know that from experience because I'm not like in the gaming space necessarily, but I am in like the nerd niche of the subgenre of like horror and like spooky and scary things. Like I am very much so in that space, and just like filmography and cinematography. Like I'm very much so in that like nerd subgenre, if you will. So anything that I see that has to relate to that, I'm gonna buy it straight up. I don't care how much it is, I'm gonna buy it, right? So I know your audience is very keen and on doing that and matches my energy on that as well. So my thought would be 3D printing stuff is tough. It's expensive. It's also like, again, so niche down that it's hard to like be like, what should I make today? Because there's only so many of you guys that are actually doing this well. Chrissy is doing a very good job at this, right? But my thought is, since you have such a dedicated audience, even though they're not necessarily buying right now, maybe we need to start adding more listings that would attract them that don't have to be 3D printed items. That might be something, even if you get into like digital designs, or if you get into print on demand, or straight up go buy a mug maker Cricut thing from Joann's or Michael's and start putting these gamer, these nerdy, these fantasy, whatever type of designs on those things based on your research, based on what you already know is performing, and then get them to buy those articulated 3D printed projects. I don't know, just a thought. Again, this is not telling you to go do this whatsoever, but just a thought that might allow us to have more listings and also reach a larger audience. All right. Next up, I gave you 100% on this one. Your photography, your mockups, like I said, you can tell that you know what you're doing. And then when we come into each of them individually, the thumbnail is, first of all, gorgeous. Love it. Like every single one of these, I have literally zero feedback. Absolutely fantastic, or zero negative feedback. Okay. We also like, look at that, man. I want to buy this. I don't even freaking play these things, but I want this. This is so stinking cool. So you did perfect at angles. You did perfect at focusing on the product and not having a bunch of stuff around it that got in my way or made it where I don't know what it is. You showed me the features and you showed me exactly what my choices are. And you even gave me even more information from there. Like, I wanted you guys to see this and I wanted to shout her out. This is exactly how you build a 10 photo mock-up sequence, like 100%. She also does a really good job. I'm trying to see if I can find one fast enough. There was one definitely at the top. Let me go to all real fast. This one, this video, I was like, I don't even care about this dragon, but I'm going to buy it because this video got me hooked. Like, this is a perfect example of exactly what you can do. Again, if this is your space, if you're doing this, perfect example of exactly what you can do very simply to add no sound, 15 seconds or less video on your Etsy. Okay. So first of all, huge congratulations there. You did an absolutely fantastic job there. Okay. Last but not least is going to be our description and title quality. So I think you did a really good job overall in descriptions. I'm just going to go to my favorite guy here, my little mushroom, who I'm definitely buying. So get ready to receive an order from me. But we're just going to look here. So I really do like your combination of title. I like, again, what we are basically telling them this is. But again, I want you to kind of like, I want us to look at this as a location to talk to a search engine as well as a buyer. Maybe even flopped. Maybe it's like talk to a human, but also a search engine. So I think this is very search engine-y talking. Maybe it could be a little bit better strung in a way that is like, Leslie needs this mushroom because she is this person. Okay. Just a thought, but everything else looks great. Last little thing that I had was just the description. I think your description is good. I did notice that you were copying and pasting your description across the majority of listings that you were doing. And then we would basically just change like this and then maybe some of the key features, but the template is the same. Love that idea. I do templates as well. I think that's very smart. It's time saving. It's automations, right? However, there are some things that I think that we might be missing in the description. The reason why I say that, just assume, hey, have you guys ever, I think I quoted this 2 weeks ago too. If you guys have ever seen Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, that Jeff Foxworthy show, just assume that your buyers are not. And I hate to say that, but we really do have to like dumb everything down and make it as easy as possible for them and remove any purchasing objections. That's like the literal goal of e-commerce storefronts or e-commerce listing product pages. So we want these guys, the photos, to answer all of their questions, assuming they never read the description, right? Then we want the description to answer all of their potential questions and overcome any purchasing objections, assuming they never looked through the photos. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's applicable to everybody's shop, not just this one. But that is what I would say. And I also put it in here as well. Make sure the first 140 to 160 character, or excuse me, 155 to 160 characters of your title are the most important ones. So basically you're talking to Google and telling Bing exactly what your listing is going to be about. That's the first part of the description. Then I also want to think about size, color, use, care instructions, shipping, returns and exchanges, whatever. Anything that might stop them from buying or make them have questions that they're too scared to message you about, which again would prevent them from buying. Let's go ahead and just hit those out of the park. The other thing that I did notice, and I totally understand this might be physically impossible for you because of what you're selling, I don't think we're allowed to use these words. And I do see a lot of these words in your titles as well as your descriptions. I am not a legal counsel on this, so I highly recommend getting it checked out by someone who is. But in my opinion, I do not believe we are allowed to use these in titles on Etsy, and I really, really don't want any of your listings to get shut down because so. So I would ask your legal counsel first of all. Is this good or not? Am I approved to keep going? And if not, obviously, I would remove them and find creative ways to say it without saying it. Okay. I know that's really probably stressful to hear because, like, you can't say Nintendo Switch without that. And I understand that, but I wanted to make sure I hit that there. Okay, guys. So that was the handmade one. I wanted to go super deep into this one. I'm going to do a little bit more high level on the POD and digital store because now you guys know where I'm getting these benchmarks from. I'm going to take a quick little break, have some water, check out your questions and comments. I see you guys going back and forth. So I want to make sure that I'm hitting all of those first before we get to the next thing, okay? Someone said, this is a really good question. I can answer it very easily. Someone said, how do I find past webinars? All you got to do, head to our YouTube channel, go to the live section. All of them are there. And I've been going live almost every Thursday since February 15th. We actually just hit our, 8-month birthday, if you will, 2 days ago. So yes, you can go on there, EverBee YouTube channel, go to the live section. You can find all of them there. Someone said, how do I get an audit for your next live? Port printables, make dang sure that you are in the EverBee Facebook group. If we decide to do this again going forward and you guys like this, what I can do is basically every month I am going to put a thing out there that's like, hey, if you want a free audit, I literally do like a little color wheel that chooses somebody, pop your name in there. So make sure, most importantly, you're in that Facebook group. Someone said, did you get downgraded for not having alt tags on a listing? I know it's important, but how important? Dougie C, that is a very, very good question, and I do not know the answer to it, to be honest. Alt text, if you do not know, for anyone on this call that does not know, is basically for someone who might be visually impaired and they need to hear what the item is. Okay, so like let's just use my little mushroom friend as an example again. So in this particular case, I, as a buyer, cannot see the alt text. You put the alt text in, and then if I am a visually impaired buyer, then I could actually go listen to it. So in this case, I could say, I'm going to do this wrong because I don't understand 3D printing. I'm so sorry. I know I'm going to butcher this, but white mushroom with red cap holding phone cord created by 3D printer. Something of that nature. So it's not that it is required necessarily, but it does two things. One, it allows, again, visually impaired buyers to make a decision. Number two, it also allows you to get a little bit more SEO opportunity as well. So I wouldn't say you get a downgrade by any means. I don't know the answer to that 100%, but I don't think Etsy would ever be like, shame on you. I don't think they're going to not give you search results for that. But could it help? Absolutely, 100%. Someone said, can we get a copy of the spreadsheet and the replay? This is actually just something that we're keeping internally. If the individual shop owners that I am auditing would like the spreadsheet, I will happily give you your individual sheet. However, for everybody else, this is something we're keeping internally. All right, let's see. Second that. Cool. People talking back and forth. Yay, someone said it's so helpful. I'm so glad. All right, so someone said, when you go to search for products to see what autofills as the suggested products in Etsy, it automatically defaults to find shop name containing blank. How do you get it to not do that? That's interesting. I actually don't know without trying it out myself and figuring out how to remove that. Sometimes home, I want you to send an email to hello@everbee.io. Ask them that exact question. They're either going to give you the answer or they're going to give you the workaround so you can remove it from yourself. Okay. So I want to make sure that you get that answered. I'm just not the person to answer it. Someone else asks, good Lord, I need to breathe. Someone else asked, how do we / where do we put alt text in our listings? So when you're actually in the listing itself and you're filling out the photos, there's going to be a little box under each of the photos where you can put that alt text. All right. Okay, so that's all I see so far. Wanted to make sure I hit those. I did see some other questions at the very beginning that have nothing to do with the audit, so I will try my best to get to them at the end when we have our live Q&A, okay? With that said, let's go ahead and get into the next one. I'm going to close out all of these things so I don't lose them. There we go. All right, we're going to get into the print on demand store now. It is the exact same thing. We're going to go line item by line item, but again, I'm going to go a little bit faster this time because some things are repeated from the other shop, but I really want to focus on the things that are print on demand specific. All right, so the first one, and this is going to be, by the way, So Rhodes. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. So Rhodes Art Studio. All right. So again, we're looking at shop optimization. That's our number one bucket, right? So I've said basically room for improvement to enhance the overall buyer experience within the shop itself. What I mean by that is when you go, I don't know about you guys, I might just be addicted to Target, but when you go into Target, don't you like feel happier? It's like stark white walls, bright red, and then you have like aesthetically appealing models, and then you have these like body positive mannequins and like all the things that make me happy about Target. I see immediately when I walk in. It's very brand centric. It's very easy to recognize them. It's very easy to see that little dog with the weird nose or to see the little Target symbol. I know exactly who it is. What I want to do is enhance the buyer experience for your people as well, starting immediately with the logo and the banner. It's a little bit hard to see and read, and it's also a little pixelated. And by the way, I'm on a 27-inch screen, so I should be able, if this was scaled out appropriately when it was downloaded, I should be able to not have any pixelation. I pulled it up on my phone as well, and it was even more difficult to see simply because I think of the color combination we're doing. So I think it's fine as is with what you have going on in here. I love the idea of showing a couple of different things that you're offering, but I think the harshness of the contrast of colors, and I'm a designer, so I might just be crazy here. But I think it's a little bit difficult to read, and it's not really helping my buyer experience quite yet. Same thing with the logo. Again, the contrast of the colors. I know it says Southern Rhodes Art Studio. Just takes me a little while to get there. Okay. So that's first and foremost something that I wanted to hit on. And then secondary to that, potentially primary to that, is going to be our thumbnails. There's not a lot of consistency within the thumbnails, or potentially consistency at all. There's these, like digital downloads are pretty consistent, but across the board, it's kind of all over the place. However, what I want to say, my little caveat to that, is Etsy really bases your success as listings first, then shop and customer service. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily have to look like Target. I'm just going to use that as an example. It doesn't have to look aesthetically pleasing all different ways. It doesn't have to match each other. But I just want to make sure that individually as a listing itself, are we putting our best foot forward? And from experience, being a print on demand seller for about 5 years, I know that the majority of these mockups that I'm seeing are directly from the print on demand provider that you're using. So I don't like using those personally myself, simply because I don't think they show the product in the most perfect light. And then if we look at something like this guy, which we're going to get into mockups in a second. But if we get here, for example, and again, I'm on a 27-inch screen and I don't actually know what this is, right? I have to like zoom, and hope that I can even read. And I can't. After I zoom that whole way, okay? So it's not necessarily that the thumbnails need to be consistent on the entire shop. It's just the thumbnails that we are using need to be very, very intentional on a per listing basis. Okay. So just one little thing I wanted to hit on there. And then let's see, there was also, I think, shop announcement, same thing with you, that I highly recommend building this out a little bit. So I like what you did here, especially because you are updating it, I'm assuming frequently. But I also want to put, like, do you have any shipping discounts? Can they qualify for free shipping if they spend more than $30? Do you have any sales going on right now? Like any of those things, that's what the shop announcement's going to be for, okay? When we go to the about section, I really love what you did here. I think this was good, but I would recommend maybe adjusting the photos a little bit, just because there's no QR code like for the thing, and then someone's going to have to literally copy and paste this to be able to join your mailing list. So again, enhancing the user/buyer experience. That's all we want to do, right? So what can we do to make it as easy as possible on the person who is wanting to work with us in some capacity? All right. That's number one, shop optimization. The next thing is tags. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. All I really said was work on tags with high search, low comp. Same thing we talked about earlier. So again, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I just took some examples of what that means. So boho style, really awesome broad, but we also are doing a little bit too much competition. So if we took boho style and we went into, I'm just going to actually do this while we talk and see if it works. I don't know if it will work. I hope it does. Please don't make me look stupid, EverBee. Okay, I'm going to go to keyword research. Maybe. I'm going to type in boho style. I'm going to click search. I'm going to see the same numbers that I just saw, right? And I'm going to be a little detracted from that. I'm going to be like, ooh, that's not as sexy as I wanted it to be. So I'm going to filter by keyword score. I'm going to get the highest keyword score at the top. And then I'm going to start to go through these and see if there's anything that could be of benefit to me. There's a lot in here that are spelled wrong. So like we talked about earlier, I'm not necessarily going to go through those. But if there is something like boho hippie style, I don't think that's how you spell hippie, but we're just going to use this as an example. Within 2 clicks, I was able to find, and then obviously typing out boho style into the keyword research, I was able to maybe find this. And that might be something that is a lot less competition, still a really healthy volume, but it's not 600,000, which is what we were dealing with earlier. Okay. So that's just something that I wanted to note here there was kind of a healthy, or I guess in this case, unhealthy balance of a little bit lower search volume than I would like, but then a lot of competition that I really don't like. Okay. So I would say that could be an opportunity for us to just dive a little bit deeper, like Christmas gnome. I wonder if there is like hippie Christmas gnome or something of the sort, or Western Christmas gnome or anything like that just brings this baby down a little bit. All right. Hope that makes sense. Last up is also your sections. Kind of the same thing as earlier, like Outfit Emporium, the Misfit Workshop, Quirky Quenchers. When we're doing SEO, we got to think like the buyer. We got to think like the searcher. Now, I could be crazy here, and please tell me if I am. I don't know what Quirky Quenchers is. I can find out probably by clicking on it. Let's see. I'm assuming I figured. Okay, so this is awesome. I hear you. I know where you're coming from, but no one, unless I'm crazy, I could be wrong. Again, please tell me I'm wrong, but I don't think anybody's typing in Quirky Quenchers. Nor did I know what Quirky Quenchers was until I clicked on it. And then I was like, oh, it's drink holders. Cool. And they're quirky. Oh, we're on the same page now. Quirky Quenchers. Got it. You don't want your buyer to have to go through the mental process that I just did to get here. You want it to be as easy as stinking possible. So you could literally have this as like water bottles and mugs, or tumblers and wine glasses, or something like that, that actively is something that someone would be typing in. Okay. Hope that makes sense. All right, let's get back over here. Total number of listings. So we have about a 500 listings in total. So like you're doing great on listing quantity, but we need to improve listing quality. I would rather you have 50 perfectly optimized listings than 500 not perfectly optimized listings. You're probably going to make more money with the 50. You're going to gain more exposure with the 500, but exposure doesn't mean sales. Exposure means you might have popped up for a search, or you might have, someone had been impressed, like it popped up as an impression for them, but it might not lead to a conversion, right? So I kind of basically said there's dozens of different niches, dozens of different products, which is fine if you're looking to be a general store. But if we decide to be a general store, which I believe is the direction you're going, we might need to rebrand a little bit. Because when I see your shop, I'm like, "Ooh, gnomes." Like, I'm gonna get gnomes everywhere. And then there's like a little bit of a difference. There are a lot of gnomes, I will say. But there's also some other things that kind of like don't relate to gnomes. But now that I'm clicking on things, there's a lot of things that relate to gnomes too. But I would just say, like, I like this idea, but I want to make sure that, again, it's the best user experience or buyer experience possible. And then once it is, get that SEO where it needs to be to bring in as many stinking people as possible who deserve to see your products. All right. Last up, oh, just kidding. We have two more. The majority of mockups, like we discussed, print provider. I would recommend not using those, or if you do use them outside of the thumbnail. I know there was this big mock-up scare, actually, I think this time last year, where everyone was like, everybody's getting shut down because of mock-ups. I think it was like a lot more than that, obviously. But I do understand, like, they have actively said print on demand people use print on demand provider mock-ups. Like, so I totally get why you would be doing this. And I think that's totally reasonable. But I think there's a way to make the thumbnail a little bit sexier, simply because that is exactly what people see. If we go back to Etsy itself, that is all I see. And it determines, now I'm just overrun with mushrooms and I'm very excited about that. But it determines like whether or not I'm gonna click on something is that thumbnail. So make sure at minimum that thumbnail is as intentional as freaking possible. There were also a couple of things. I'm not probably gonna be able to find it fast enough. Probably not. But basically there were a couple of things that I noticed that, like, the background, here's a good one. The background kind of was a little overwhelming and didn't like focus fully on the product. Obviously, this is focused on the product, but because the product is so small in the thumbnail, I don't really know what the design is. I can see there's like a tiny little Grinch gnome, but like I can't see the writing on there. And again, I am on a super large computer. Okay. So keeping that in mind, if someone's looking at this on their phone, on mobile, it's going to be like about this big. And they have that one thumbnail, the price, and the title to make a decision if they're going to click through or not. So this is the most important part. The second most important part is this guy right here. I would highly recommend, from my, like, looking at all, not all of them, but looking, high level at your listings, there are a lot of price issues. So there are some things like a $22 candle is not probably going to be sold unless it is a handmade candle that you put essential oils in yourself. Okay. But a print on demand handmade or print on demand candle, almost $25 is going to be very, very hard to get someone to buy. $30 Christmas stocking, and then like a almost $50 puzzle. So I would recommend either, I know you're a POD shop, I would recommend either finding cheaper options without sacrificing quality, like cheaper print-on-demand providers without sacrificing quality of the product, or you gotta put a sale on this shop. Whether you do it in sections, whether you do it as flash sales, does not matter to me. But these prices are deterring me as a potential buyer. And like I said, when I'm coming to just search random things, the three things that I see, the only three things that I see are, and actually you can't even see it in certain places. That's actually funny. Let me just put in, I've been doing dad gifts a lot this week. I'm not sure why, but we're just on that search train together. So when I type in dad gifts, for example, what are the three things I see? There's a couple of different things, of course. Let's scroll down to not ads. You're going to see the title. You're going to see the shop name. You're going to see the price. You're going to see the thumbnail. You're also obviously going to see the badge that they have. And you're also obviously going to see what equates to their reviews or their star status. But I'm really seeing this is the most important. This is the second most important. This is the third most important, right? So if we can think like a shopper and know that that is where our eyes like psychologically go as buyers, how do we fit that mold for them from the get-go? Okay. Last but not least is the description and title quality. It's kind of the exact same thing that I gave to the handmade store. The only thing that I do want to hit on, though, for this POD store is it looks like there was a lot of the print-on-demand provider copy and pasted like templated words. in the description. And I think that's only hurting you. I think we need to make, again, keep commerce human. And it's really, really hard to keep a print on demand commerce store human unless you are actively intentional about it. Again, one of those ways is tell me your story, be dang good at marketing, show your face behind the brand, maybe do branded inserts if your POD provider allows that. And then again, don't just copy and paste what they've done for you. We can see that as buyers. Like we can see that like that looks like it came from not your mouth, you know? So maybe just make it a little bit more intentional, make it a little more homey, a little more handmade, even though it's not handmade. All right. That is the end of that one. Let's move on to the final one, being our digital shop. So this one was super awesome. Sherry, you got almost an 80% out of 100%. So congrats to you, Sherry Lynn Designs. I barely had anything to say because I really, really, really loved your shop. First and foremost, we're talking about optimization. I love your branding. It's very easy to understand. I know exactly what I'm going to get here. And I know that I am a qualified buyer to start looking through this. The only thing I did want to say is let's, beef this up a little bit like we did with the other ones. I know that you have a 50% off sale currently. Tell me that there without me having to go find it. Okay, so that's what I would do. I also love that your shop title is literally telling me and search results exactly what I'm going to be getting. I also love the sections that you came up with. The only thing is like trending now, maybe people are not typing in as frequently, but like I definitely would like type in like what are the trends. Also, this is a very, very smart thing for Sherry to do because she's actually selling items for commercial and personal use for other business owners on Etsy. So when we have a trending now section, I don't know about you guys, but I have personally typed in trends into the Etsy search bar so I can actively buy PNG or SVG designs for my shop. So that's such a stinking good idea. And I wanted to shout you out for that. Let's go to the about section really quick. This is the only thing about the shop optimization that I would recommend enhancing. Let's go ahead and do a little bit more here. Let's talk about who you are. Let's talk about who you are selling to. Let's talk about why you're the best person to buy from. Like you are, yes, you're going through this and your designs help you on your mental health journey. I freaking love that. I am a huge mental health advocate. So I love, love, love this about your journey. But tell me also about their journey. Who is the person that you're selling to and how can you help them? How can you give them time back in their day rather than them building a design from scratch? How can you make them more sales? How can you get them more views on their listings because you made an awesome thumbnail? Tell me in the about section. And then it looks like your shop policies could also use a little bit of an update. There's just like maybe 3 or 4 things that are missing here. Not that big of a deal, but that is one of the benchmarks that Etsy sees as a fully optimized shop. So I wanted to make sure I hit on it. All right, next up is searchable keywords like we've gone over. I wanted to go ahead and scroll down here a little bit as a quick example. I think you're doing a great job. You've also had over 300 sales, but we're looking at these guys right here. I know it's a little bit small. I'll zoom in a second. But I did notice a large majority of a bunch of listings that I looked at had pretty low, like under 100 or under 70 search volume. So I think that there is an opportunity, like you're already making good sales, but I think there is an opportunity to get even more sales by maybe expanding this and getting a little bit broader, or at least, like I said earlier, the rule of thirds on this strategy. All right. Next up, again, I gave you 100% on this one. There's 181 total listings and they're split up very well by sections. It's very easy for me to understand where I'm going and also the search engine to tell me where to go as well. I also love for photography and mockups. I love the consistency of the thumbnail images as well as the personal touch that you have done on branded graphics. I want to make sure I show everybody this so they know what I am alluding to. This guy right here. So please read, and this is a branded graphic with her font, her colors, her logo, and literally just apply it to everyone. Anything that is applicable, apply it there. She also gives a little bit about her story, which I really, really loved. So I thought that those were really cool. The only thing that I would recommend us enhancing a little bit is the vast majority of your listings only have 1 to maybe 3 maximum photos of the actual item itself. I think that could be an area for improvement and an area for more potential sales. Like this, for example, Hello 2025. Yeah, it could go on a crew neck. We know that, right? But again, think like your buyer. What else could it go on? It could go on a journal. It could go on a desk calendar. It could go on a mug. It could go on a tank top, like whatever it is, and whoever your buyer is. It'd be really, really easy because I saw you do it in a couple of other listings. So I know you have these mock-ups. So it'd be really easy to do that on all of them. Again, like I said, Etsy's mostly, or not Etsy, but like Etsy buyers are mostly not looking at your shop as a whole. They are looking at each individual listing and deciding from that individual listing and what that individual listing gives them whether or not they're going to purchase. Okay. So would you purchase this if you were a journal seller? I'm just going to ask, because if not, then someone else might not as well. Okay. But this definitely can be sold to a journal seller. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Last up is description and title quality. I wanted to just shout you out for this as well. Like I said, I gave you almost 80% out of this. You're killing it. There's only a very, very few things that we could maybe expand on. But I'm going to show you guys exactly what like a perfectly optimized description looks like. It's long. Don't get me wrong. It's long. You got to scroll. But she did such a good job. And I had no questions. I literally left all of the listings with like, cool. I know if this is for me or not. Very, very simple. I know exactly what's going to happen. I know exactly where to go when I buy this. I know exactly if I don't like it, what my SOL, like I know exactly what that is because she told me. I have literally no questions asked. This is a perfect example of a description. All right. So with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. I know, God, you guys have hit me with 30 questions or 30 comments of some sort that I haven't taken a look at yet. I'm going to dive into those really quickly. We got about 5 minutes remaining. I will try to get through all of them as soon as I can. If you guys are not able to stay past 11, that's totally fine. I will see you guys in the next one, which I do before I get into these questions or these comments. I do want to say something before we get off. Next Thursday, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of or you have heard of Cassie Johnson. She just broke 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. She is a multi-million-dollar Etsy seller in the print-on-demand space, and I am having the pleasure of hanging out with her live during our Coffee with EverBee takeover next Thursday. So it's something you're definitely not going to want to miss. I will see you guys next Thursday at 10 a.m. With that said, let's get into it. Oh, there's a lot. Okay, hold on. let me scroll through and try to find the right ones. Okay, she said she's emailing EverBee. Fantastic. Vicky said that would be me. Yes. All right. Someone said, what is the optimal banner size for Etsy? Mine looks a little blurry. So I would just put banner size requirements Etsy into Google. And it looks like it's 3360 px, which is pixels, wide by 840 px tall. So just type that into Etsy and it should be able to, Google. It should be able to come up for you. There's also an answer that says 1200 by 300. So vet these answers, pop them into Canva as a custom size, pop them into Etsy and vet it for yourself. Okay. Okay. How would you calculate the score? Oh, good question. So the keyword score, this is a very easy one for me to answer because I answer this like multiple times a week. The keyword score within Etsy or EverBee is an EverBee metric. That's just something that like we have internally that you're going to be able to see if you work with EverBee, right? So it is the volume of search for that keyword, for that phrase, whatever. It's the volume of search in ratio to the number of competing listings times 1,000. So when you see something that's like 1.8 million as the keyword score, that's an incredible number. You're like, dang, I should probably use that. And then you realize like the word is misspelled, and it's because the volume of search is probably really high because, again, are you smarter than a fifth grader? I can't spell. I don't know if you can. So maybe they didn't spell it right, and maybe like 1,000 people didn't spell it right, but then only like 1 or 2 people were using that in their listing. So it's like volume was 2,000, competition was 2. Of course, you're going to have a 1.8 million, keyword score. And of course, it's not going to help you. So hope that makes sense. Awesome. Someone said they learned in this video that sections could potentially help with SEO. Fantastic. Someone asked, where can I find the Facebook group? It is actually EverBee members, I believe. Etsy seller members. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you right now. If you go to Facebook, and it is EverBee members dash Etsy seller growth. I'll go ahead and just pop the link to it. And then maybe, let's see if it'll let me copy the link. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it in the comments right here. Maybe, hopefully. There you go. That should be it. So EverBee members dash Etsy seller growth. And as long as you are not a scammer or someone that is spamming us, we let everybody in. This is a very inclusive group. Almost 31,000 of us are in there right now. All right. Let's scroll through a little bit more. You're so welcome. Is it okay to use something like ChatGPT to write listing descriptions? EverBee? Oh my God, you're so funny. AI does it so much better than I do. 100%. If you're new to this, by the way, I talk about Charles as I personified ChatGPT, and because I talk to him so much. If you were to look at my ChatGPT like reference history, like he's my friend because we talk so much, and I rely on him for so many things, to be honest. Because why wouldn't we? It's a time-saving life hack, right? So absolutely. I use Charles for listing descriptions, but again, that is not 100% keeping commerce human. So it's all about the prompt. Don't just copy and paste a bunch of stuff from your print-on-demand provider, pop it into Charles and be like, give me something. It's going to sound still very generic. It's going to sound not human, right? So what we're going to do in the prompt is be like, hey, Charles, I want X, Y, and Z, and it needs to include ABC, but I also want it to sound like it's coming from a friend or a professional authority or whoever you are to your buyer. Okay. So just make sure that the prompt is already giving that tone of voice, make your life a little easier. Yep. Someone's like, how did I miss that you can add photos and videos to your shop section? Yep. That's a really cool thing. Does the about section have a character limit? Yeah. Don't know what it is though. I want to say like 2,000 maybe. Go in there, go to your I think it's under your settings and then options, if I'm not mistaken, or info and appearance. It's one of those two. Without looking at it, I'm sorry, I don't know off the bat. But I would definitely recommend checking that out for yourself. But you have a good number to play with, which is nice. Someone said, "Do it, Sherry." I love it. Someone said you mentioned that the volume number should be over 75. Did you mention that the number for competition should be below? That's a good question. Again, it's not a should. It's my preference. I am, again, this is not Bible. Nothing we say on here is Bible. Do not take it as so. But I personally, that's really pushing it if we're over 15K, in my opinion. I do not like to be too much over that. However, if you are using Heather's strategy from last week with the rule of thirds, you could absolutely have a little bit more broad key terms as long as you're focusing the latter 75% of your keywords on a little bit more niche down. I have heard of people having two different listings for the same item. Is that recommended to try and sell it differently? Very, very good idea. It's called A/B testing. So that basically is like A versus B. Which one did better and what should I go through with going forward? A couple ways that you can do this is you can A/B test a thumbnail and is like maybe a lifestyle image versus a flat lay and then see if it does well. You could also do with and without video. You could do SEO differences. So try like a total overhaul of the SEO keywords of one of the listings and test. And 100%, I think that's a fantastic strategy. I do it every single day in my own business, even outside of Etsy. I test emails that I send out. I test social media posts that I send out. I test advertising campaigns. Like I do this every single day. So yes, highly recommend. Can you give an example of an optimized digital product shop you think is great and optimized according to Etsy's best practices? That's a very long and large question because I think there's a lot of them, of course. I would actually just recommend maybe going into EverBee and doing that research yourself, like in product analytics. However, in future videos, especially if we do another Etsy audit in November/December, I have no problem like bringing up one that's doing really well rather than just the ones in the group. Absolutely, we can do that in the future. Someone said, when are you auditing shops next? So before I keep going through these comments, like, you guys want me to do this again? Was this helpful? Tell me. Let me know. Like, do we want to keep this going monthly? Because I'll happily do this every month if you guys like, but I also want to make sure that you guys show up and this is helpful and beneficial. I don't want to do this is not for my benefit, right? So please let me know. We like this, right? Yes. Yep. I'm seeing some all caps yeses. I'm seeing some all caps pleases. Good. Okay, cool. Sounds good. So the next one then could be, let's see, the 17th. I want to say thank you guys so much. You guys are so sweet. Oh, I love that idea. Someone actually said this is why we're doing this. This is like a beta experience, right? And you guys are all here. Someone said maybe 1 to 2 audits with a mix of EverBee tutorials on how to do those. I freaking love that idea. Absolutely, we'll do that next time. So let's say November 14th sounds like a pretty date to me because my birthday is the week before that. So I will not be on for November 7th. But November 14th sounds like a good day. So let's go ahead and pencil it in. Get ready for it. And I will be probably a week before that, letting you guys know to drop your name in the comments if you want to be a part of it. Someone said, when are when are QR codes useful and how do I create one? She's brand new to utilizing this. So Janae, the QR code is actually built in 2 different places. You can either build a QR code in Canva for free, or you can go to a QR code generator.com or something like that and build that for free. Or if you have EverBee email, you can also build a QR code there that is going to take someone, when they take a picture of that QR code, they're going to be taken to your landing page, which is the place where they opt in to become an email subscriber. If you're not interested in email quite yet, then you could use qrcodegenerator.com. I'm just making that up, but type it into Google. Or you can use Canva. And then a QR code is literally just a physical image version of a link. So you can use it however you want. You can have a QR code on printed out business cards that take someone to your social media or your Etsy shop. It really just depends on what your goal is, and that's what you would use the QR code for. Someone said, is there a shortened link option for the EverBee email landing page? I can't link words or add photos in the shop announcement. Very, very good point. I would put the QR code in your banner is where I would put that, or on one of your photos on the listings itself. However, you could also, I don't know if you guys have ever used the thing called Bitly, bit.ly. That's also a URL shortener, and it's free. So I think you could do up to 3 URLs for free, and it could literally be like bit.ly/ Sherry Lynn Designs or something of that nature. So then it takes that, it feels a little bit more branded to you. Something to look into. Someone said, Sherry Lynn, I'm buying some of your designs. I love it. All right. Someone said, new to EverBee. We only got a few more, guys. Like I said, if you got to hop off, that's totally fine, but we got a few more to get through. I'm new to EverBee. Is it best to download and install a browser extension? 1000% yes. So everything that you just saw a second ago, I'm going to go ahead and add me back to stage. This right here, you will not see this whatsoever if you do not have the extension. So 110,000%. You can always, of course, go to everbee.io and you're going to get the same features. Even more because we've got a lot of other stuff on here as well. So once you sign in with your Etsy shop, you're going to see all those as well. But in my opinion, I like things to be easy and fast. If you have the extension, you're going to have this panel on the left, and you're also going to have this little bee right here, which allows you to click on the individual listing and have this baby come up right there. So in my opinion, the answer is 100% get that extension. Lots of yeses, lots of absolutelys. Sweet. Okay. I think I did it. All right. I think that's all the questions that we have about the audits. I'm going to scroll up just a tiny baby bit because there were a lot of questions at the beginning that I couldn't get to. So someone said, oh, that's sad. I'm so sorry. Someone said that they got hacked and they can't seem to get Etsy support to reach out. I'm so sorry that's happening. Unfortunately, I've seen a good number of people say that Etsy support is not as user-friendly as we would like. But I would just say, like, beat down their door. Go after, as much as you can, as many emails, as many chat bots, whatever you can do, stand up for yourself. And then also maybe like the Etsy Twitter account, just stuff like that. Like I actually had my TikTok shop my TikTok account shut down. And then I just went like ham on them. Not mean. I was just kind of like, hi, I would like it back, please. I didn't do anything wrong. Or this situation happened and I got it back within about 2 weeks. So I would just say, stand up for yourself. And then, hopefully it works out. I really, really do. But I don't have any suggestions other than going to Etsy support. And then, of course, maybe Etsy Twitter or something of that nature. So with that said, guys, I think that is all the time. That's actually past all of the time that we have today. So I really, really do appreciate you guys all being here with me again. I hope I see you next Thursday when we have Cassie here on the line with us. So it's going to be just like it was last week with Heather. And I also am in the process of building out our November and December Coffee with EverBee plan. So please feel free to let me know in the comments below, or obviously on the Facebook group. Is there anything you guys have to know? Is there anything you want me to go over? Feel free to let me know and we will make it work for you. Okay. Thank you guys again so much. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week and obviously a fantastic weekend as well. And I will see you guys next Thursday. See ya.